Welcome, my friends, to the Quantum Shamans presented by Moshi, the Ministry of Shamanic Healing and Integration, bringing you insights into the spiritual secrets of the mind and the universe around you. We are here to help you on your spiritual journey and path of healing. And now your hosts, David and Anthony.
Welcome to Quantum Shamans, presented by Moshi. I'm Anthony.
And I'm David. We're the founders of the Ministry of Shamanic Healing and Integration based out of Cleveland, Ohio.
And we're here today to interview Kevin Sheard.
Hi, thank you for having me on here.
Welcome, Kevin. Before we get started, we're going to read some of the material that we have, our vision statement and our religious doctrine. David?
Thanks, Anthony. Our vision statement is as follows. The Ministry of Shamanic Healing and Integration aims to help individuals heal from spiritual maladies stored as energy in the subconscious that manifests in the form of trauma, PTSD, physical illness, mental health issues, and addiction. These practices include but are not limited to yoga, breathwork, meditation and mindfulness practices, Reiki, sweat lodge ceremonies, sensory deprivation, sacred plants, and any other rituals we collectively decide to establish. We hold ritual ceremonies for our community to heal collectively in a safe space, as well as individual ritual healing tailored to the members of our collective for the purpose of intensive inner work. Our most important responsibility is to help our members integrate their individual and collective experiences in order to ameliorate their spiritual maladies and spread love for the betterment of mankind. Our belief is that our collective consciousness is God. Every living organism has a purpose and is essential for homeostasis. From the single-cell organisms to the observable universe, we are all connected and equally important. We all deserve love, respect, peace, harmony, and forgiveness. Love is the most powerful force in the universe. Love conquers all. And next, our doctrine, the doctrine of universal organicism. As a religious doctrine for universal organicism, we embrace the interconnectedness and interdependence of all living things. We believe that all beings are part of a greater whole, and that each individual has a unique role to play in the balance of the universe. We honor and respect the natural world, recognizing that it is a sacred manifestation of the divine. To achieve a deeper understanding and connection to this divine nature, we incorporate shamanism, meditation, breathwork, mindfulness, yoga, and sacred plants into our practice. These practices have been used for thousands of years to heal the body and soul and become enlightened. Shamanism is an ancient practice that involves connecting with the spirit world through ritual and ceremony. We honor the shamanic traditions of our ancestors and use them to deepen our understanding of the universe and our place within it. Through shamanic practices, we connect with the spirits of plants, animals, and ancestors to gain wisdom, guidance, and healing. Meditation and mindfulness are also essential practices in our doctrine. We recognize that the mind is a powerful tool and that by focusing our thoughts and intentions, we can shape our reality. Through meditation and mindfulness, we cultivate awareness and presence, allowing us to connect with the divine within ourselves and in the world around us. Breathwork and yoga are physical practices that help us to connect with our bodies in the natural world. By harnessing the power of breath, we can release tension and negative emotions and cultivate a sense of calm and balance. Through yoga, we connect with the movements and rhythms of the natural world, bringing us closer to the divine within ourselves and in the world around us. Sacred plants have been used for thousands of years to heal the body and soul and connect with the divine. We honor the wisdom of these ancient plants and incorporate them into our practice with reverence and respect. Through the use of sacred plants, we gain insight, healing, and a deeper connection to the universe and our place within it. In our doctrine of universal organicism, we recognize that all beings are interconnected and interdependent. We believe that by embracing our practices of shamanism, meditation, breathwork, mindfulness, yoga, and sacred plants, we can deepen our connection to the natural world and the divine within ourselves. We honor and respect the natural world and strive to live in harmony with it, recognizing that we are all part of a greater whole.
Fantastic. Thank you, David.
Oh, beautiful.
Welcome, Kevin. We're so happy to be here with you to do this live stream, to do this podcast.
Absolutely.
We're
Thank
very
you.
happy.
One love, one tribe, one family. I'll be here with you guys.
Yeah, I love it.
We've been working together for many lifetimes.
Yeah.
I feel that deeply embedded in my soul.
Well, Kevin, I guess the first thing I'm going to ask you is tell us a little bit about your medicine way. How do you use the shamanic medicines and medicines of the world in your life?
So I was actually trained through IAKP, which is International Association of Kambo Practitioners, back in 2019. And for those who don't know, Kambo is a frog from the Amazon. The scientific name is the Philomedusa bicolor, which means leaf guardian. And about 7% of the frog's weight is the secretion, which is the sweat. And this sweat is filled with a cocktail of neuro and bioactive peptides that have a profound effect on our physiology. Traditionally, you get burned with a little incense stick and you peel back the first layer of skin. Those are called gates. So the Kambo medicine can enter through the lymphatic system, which is directly communicating with the brain. And these neuropeptides are some of the most abundant chemical messengers found in the brain. So the brain then sends a bunch of signals throughout the body saying, hey, dude, time to clean up, time to take out the garbage. Let's start purifying itself. So it's been a profound tool in my life, and I've served close to 500 clients by now. But with a lot of these medicines, they act as purification medicines and purging. So purging can happen through shaking, sweating, vomiting, crying, diarrhea, yawning. It's just an energetic release. It's the body's natural healing response. So the Kambo, while all the peptides are going to work in the body, there's about 27 active peptides, 8 different families. They all have gastrointestinal effects, vascular effects, and opioid effects. It works on the endogenous opioid system, and these are non-addictive. But Kambo does a wonderful job at bringing us back into our bodies, shifting our awareness, and removing blockages. I think that's so essential for, the outside world, what we've been conditioned with, the foods we're eating, the toxins we're putting in our bodies. And I found this through my own suffering.
That was the next question I was going to have for you. Good move. I was going to ask you, Kevin, how did you learn about this medicine or come across this medicine? How did this happen to you?
So I guess I'll start early, now that I'm in a nice heart space and a good flow. Mm-hmm. I grew up in Avon Lake, Ohio, and I had 2 older brothers. Parents, I had an amazing childhood, wonderful parents. And at about the age 9, my brother gave me OxyContin, and just the way that, society was conditioning us to think that there's a pill out there for everything, just numbing and suppressing and blocking all of these issues that we have. So that kind of planted a seed early on. Once I felt the effects of that medication, and by age 11 or 12, when I started approaching 6th and 7th grade, then I was prescribed to Adderall, which is an amphetamine, and I always felt like every time I took that medication, I always felt like I was kind of robbed from my true self. I wasn't as funny. I wasn't as outgoing. I lost my sense of humor. So, early on I had a lot of suffering with addiction. Going into high school, I kind of just had this mindset that there's a pill out there for everything. Any way that you feel, you can take this. This will help you study more. You take this will take the edge off for anxiety, like Xanax and Valium. And this turned into full-blown addiction. By the time I was 14, I was taking OxyContin every day, Adderall every day, and it just really put me through the ringer. It put me through a lot of suffering, and I had no idea about plant medicine. I've heard of meditation, but they never taught me how to utilize my breath, how to do meditation. So these just were very foreign to me at the time, and I was under the mindset that a lot of this stuff was kind of hippie BS. Like I noticed my friends were coming back from Nelson's Ledges, and they were having these profound spiritual awakenings. They said they felt smarter. They said they felt more aware. They had a better perception on life. And I just said, you guys are idiots. You guys are just getting high. Like nothing's happening. I don't. So that was my mindset about psychedelics early on, because I had such a pill-based mentality. With this, a lot of, performance enhancers, steroids, just a completely different path that I'm on now. So by the age 15, I was actually prescribed to Suboxone, on top of Adderall, then seeing my doctor. And I don't blame doctors, it's the way that they were trained. I think we have to remove blame,
right?
Since we're all one, we're not separate. And honestly, suffering, like Ram Dass said, can be grace, because if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't be doing
here.
what I'm doing now.
Wouldn't be right here.
Exactly.
Right.
Wouldn't be helping all the people, and
Right.
Dave, with alcoholism and LSD, and it's just a very exciting time that we're living in now. So to remove blame and just to go inside and find answers has been key for me. But age 15, I was prescribed a Suboxone, and when I would see my doctor, I said, I'm falling asleep in class. Okay, well then here's Adderall. Now I feel depressed. Here's Prozac. And when I was taking antidepressants, they're neurotoxins, so I felt very flat. I felt like I didn't have any emotion. I lost interest in everything I had passion for. Football, I was starting both ways. I was team captain. And that was sort of traumatic too, just because of how much, pressure, and that was what my ego identified with is, when I quit, I didn't know who I was. I felt so lost. I felt like a soulless zombie my junior and senior year in high school. And it took a while to kind of rediscover myself, and plant medicine and psychedelics were the most useful tools that I've utilized in my healing process. So age 15, at this point,
You're on a cocktail of medications. Burning your
Suboxone,
brain.
Xanax, Prozac, Adderall, drinking every night, partying a ton on the weekends. And I remember people saying to me, Kevin, you have a bottle of Jack Daniels in one hand, and you drank this thing in one night, and it doesn't seem to have any effect on you. I'm like, yeah, because I take a handful of Adderall every night when I go out. But so by the age 19, this was a pretty traumatic event, but that's another thing that psychedelics have done for me is I have a completely different outlook on death now, and not only have they expanded my awareness and my consciousness and increased my heart chakra and expanded my heart center, they've completely changed my relationship with death. I realized that we are eternal beings, that we leave our bodies, and once I'm not identified with the body, it really does take away a lot of suffering. I feel that in this society, we're taught to fear death, and actually in India, they celebrate death. They look at it as a cycle of life. They see it as the beautiful moment of truth and transformation. And I think that's one of the most profound things that plant medicine and psychedelics have helped me become aware of.
Yeah. Agreed. It totally changed the outlook on what I believed death was.
Yeah.
And then led into my own personal experiences with. So how it works for me now is you've never been born and you'll never die. You're eternal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eternal beings, birth, death, birth, death, birth, death.
Mm-hmm.
We're all just walking each other home. So the reason I brought up death was I did lose my brother at age 19. And for years that caused a lot of suffering. And I heard someone say the other day, pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice. And that actually really did resonate with me a lot. But I want to say my spiritual journey started when I was born, but my spiritual reawakening, I would say, happened when I was 22 years old, when ayahuasca entered my awareness. So my spiritual journey started when I was born, but I fell asleep, so I went through a big spiritual awakening by age 23. And I was in a halfway house. I had been in and out of jails, detoxes, rehabs. From the pills, it progressed all the way to fentanyl, heroin, shooting them both, shooting meth. I have a bit of an extremist mentality, so just
Me too.
Literally,
Us too.
yeah, anything I could get my hands on, and I really kind of enjoyed doing it because I felt like I wasn't allowed to do it. Number one, I think that was just part of the rebel inside me. But this, some of my consequences from this were I died twice. I was brought back to life by paramedics. And
Can I ask you about that? Do you have any recollection of those events?
I don't. When I left my body, when I basically just fell into blackness because I feel like opiates and drugs like that can hinder the near-death experience, from what I've learned. But I actually basically came to I feel like I just fell asleep and came to, and the paramedics were all standing over me. And I feel like part of my story can be a great example for people who are having these experiences and don't put in the work, because when I first had my first awakening at age 23 with ayahuasca, I re-fell in love with myself again. I rediscovered myself. I fell in love with everyone around me, and threw away all my prescriptions that I was on in my halfway house. I was on Vyvanse and antidepressants, and I just was at this point where I felt so spiritually disconnected and angry. I had a lot of anger stored inside of me. And just from 2 sessions in one weekend after drinking the medicine, I threw away my medications. I started doing breath work, yoga, meditation, and just being in ceremony space with all these amazing beings too. There's a huge social glue, this bond that forms. The last one we did in August was basically held us together like super glue. So just through this, just sitting with all these people that are consciously in tune and aware and that are wanting to better themselves and heal themselves, I learned about flotation therapy, breath work, meditation, yoga, Kambo, other plant medicines, iboga, ibogaine, bufo, and that really took me off on a very beautiful life transformation where I basically felt reborn. Everything seemed brand new. I felt like I did before I started using all these toxic substances. And
You found your passion again.
yeah, absolutely. And I found my heart as the main one. Is the root of the word heart is here. We hear from our hearts. We manifest from our hearts. I like to do a lot of meditations focusing on my heart center and thinking about things that I want to manifest. So age, after 23, after I did the ayahuasca, I was really meeting the medicine halfway. I was really putting in the footwork and implementing daily practice for about 3 years. And I was very resistant. I never wanted this to be part of my story, but now I'm glad that it happened, and I honor that. I did fall back into the darkness twice after my awakening, and I realize now that a lot of people are having this same issue, Anthony, you've seen this numerous times.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I stopped putting in the footwork, and meeting the medicine halfway, there's neuroplasticity once you do these medicines. This is your brain's ability to create new thought patterns and behaviors. And
that needs to be nurtured. So,
yes.
Yeah, you're right. That's exactly. I've had the same thing kind of happen to me, and a lot in my private practice that I work with people. It's a normal thing to see for people to have a psychedelic journey, but not integrate the medicine.
Yeah.
Come back from the medicine journey feeling great and everything's awesome, but then it kind of falls away, and then they usually do another journey, and they kind of sometimes get in that cycle where that continues. Where I do the medicine, I feel good, it falls away. And then what happens is they continue doing that, it gets worse and worse. When they fall away, it gets deeper and deeper until they feed that neuroplasticity, because that's the best part about the medicine is how it creates an ability for the brain to change and for it to shift. It just needs to be fed.
Our society has kind of trained people to look for the easy way out, and for the magic bullet, all the fad diets out there, and all the just the
products, like it's
the products.
Looking for the answer
Consumerism.
outside of you always.
Consumerism.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The consumerism is taken over, and everybody wants to take the easy way out and take shortcuts, and especially with your own personal growth and your spiritual growth, there are no shortcuts. You gotta put in the work.
Hard work. That's the best way I can describe a lot of this work with breath work, with plant medicine. It's hard work. You're going inside yourself to find answers, and those once you experience this needs to be integrated. And I'll touch more on this in a minute, but Kambo is an amazing tool and amazing medicine to help integrate the experience, to bring us back into our bodies. And the medicine was actually discovered thousands of years ago by a powerful shaman named Pahi Kampum. He was a Karikuna shaman, I believe, in Brazil. And his entire tribe got sick with an illness. The ayahuasca wasn't healing them. So he drank the ayahuasca and received a download, a vision of a frog, exactly how to secrete it, exactly how to apply it. So the next day he went out, found the frog, gave it to his tribe, and all the sickness was removed. That's the legend. That's the story. My belief, this sounds, maybe there was an indigenous hunter that had a cut on his finger, and he got some of the frog secretion in his cut and started noticing these different effects.
Mm-hmm.
That could definitely be true as well. But that was thousands of years ago, and since then, since 2014, IAKP was formed, and now there's maybe 600 or 700 Kambo practitioners worldwide, and it just keeps growing. And this community here, too, at Sacred Waters, just the time we're in now, we're in an amazing time of rebirth, of transformation. And my spiritual teacher, this is going back to the yogic tradition. We've actually ended a yogic calendar, the Kali Yuga, and we're transitioning into the Sat Yuga. The Kali Yuga at the end brings a lot of chaos, a lot of destruction, and since 2020, we've all seen that. And over the next few years, there's going to be a lot of truth arising and a huge shift in awareness. We're in the golden age of light, and just the special connections that were formed here. I met my amazing girlfriend here at Sacred Waters, and there's been so many deep conscious conversations here, mainly because we're not poisoning our minds with alcohol. and we can remember all of our conversations, but it feels a lot like a movie playing out, and the actors and actresses, all of our roles that are playing out, it seems a lot like this cellular memory gets triggered and activated, like Dave when I met you, Anthony when I met you. It just seemed like a beam of light came down, like, zoom, here's your soul, brother.
Yeah, we all just vibrated together.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. It's amazing.
All these energy lines connected, and it was just like, poop.
Yeah.
Totally.
Beautiful to see.
Yeah, that's great.
And I feel like I've known you guys for many, many lifetimes. Like, you're so familiar to me.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
Definitely.
That's how I can understand and see it, because I'm a rememberer. I can remember a lot of past lives. Can't remember them all yet. Little by little, as we clear out that hard drive, as we clear away the blockages and the things holding us back from our ability to remember. Because it's not that we're not meant to remember, or even that it's really like a special gift. Like, people get confused, like, you have such a special gift. Like, no, man, I'm just early to the party. And I'm going to help you find yours too, because yours is in there too. We're going to bring it forward and then help even more people do that. That's the whole reason why we're here.
Exactly, and the whole reason for Moshi, to help people get in touch with that inner peace and that interconnectedness.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
What would you say is the primary or the main benefit, would you say, if you had to pick one benefit? Because most people ask me, like, so I'm a breath shaman particularly, and they'll ask me, what do you think's the greatest benefit to breath? And I would say the healing of your brain, because you're moving blood, lymph, cerebral spinal fluid into the brain, because there's a plethora of benefits. But if you had to pick one thing that stands out to you as a practitioner of this medicine, what would you say that is?
That's funny you say that, because there's so many benefits that come to my mind, because there's 27 peptides, 8 different families. You know, Kambo's also a potent vasodilator, so it sends a lot of blood flow and oxygen back up to the brain. The most common benefit that I would say that my clients would report post-Kambo would be calmness of mind and silencing that inner critic. And I think, you know, after your body detoxifies itself, the liver, the kidneys, and all of the trapped emotional, we store a lot of emotional energy that we're not typically aware of. Shamans actually call this energy, this dense energy in the Amazon, they call it panema. And panema manifests in the body as depression, anxiety, bad luck, insomnia, racing thoughts, and Kambo's such an amazing tool to kind of go in. The medicine does have an intelligence. It's non-psychoactive. It's not a psychedelic either. It does have an intelligence to kind of go in, scan the body through the lymphatic system, and remove a lot of these blockages. And the bile, too. The bile recycles a lot of toxins, so when we remove the bile, that's basically like getting an oil change in the car. But back to your question, the main benefit would probably be remaining calm in stressful situations. So it does make people a lot more flexible. A good example, recently, I had a client about 2 or 3 months ago, and he called me. He's done Kambo before. He did it maybe 2 years ago. And he said, you know, he was at a point, his diet was poor. There's a lot of factors that go into this, but he was at a point where he just felt like he didn't belong on this earth. He said he didn't feel like he wanted to live anymore. So he came and saw me. I opened up space for him, and I served them Kambo in the ears, and when you're doing an auricular treatment with Kambo, this allows the peptides to penetrate straight to the brain, so it doesn't have to cross through the blood-brain barrier, and it can help fight neurological symptoms like depression much more effective. And after his session, I've been checking in with him almost every other week, and he said that his depression's non-existent, and he feels like he opened up a new quiet center in his brain.
Yes.
That's just such an amazing gift, and that's how I feel a lot after I do Kambo, post-Kambo. I feel like my reflexes are sharpened, my awareness is sharpened, my focus. I feel much more calm and in tune. It's definitely worked too. They would call it the warrior medicine. I had a client about a week ago. He's done Kambo 4 times, and he said on his way over, he goes, "I'm not gonna lie, man." He's like, "On the way over, I really didn't want to come." And
That's common. I have people that cancel on
Yeah.
us, like, because it's part of it is because the ego mind knows there's about to be a big shift.
yes,
And it gets terrified. It's like,
Exactly.
well, I don't know if I want to do this because it knows there's about to be a big shift that's going to
Yep.
happen. And sometimes it runs.
yeah.
Comfort and misery.
Yeah.
People just grow complacent.
Yeah.
Well-
I've been there.
You gotta get comfortable. You gotta get uncomfortable to start getting comfortable. This is it's energy work, and a really great way I like to describe it for a different spectrum of the audience is. He said he didn't want to show up, he didn't want to put in the work, but he was so much. He felt so glad that he did after he came. But when he came to the door, I said, "This is a lot like conditioning in football." I remember waking up and not wanting to run, but this would prepare our minds, our bodies, our souls for the game, and the game is life. Like, this is just energy work. This is conditioning of the mind, the body, and the soul, so you're able to perform better at life. And don't forget the inner workouts. You know, we're so focused on the outside.
Right.
I always say, remember the inner workouts.
Yeah, there's a balance to those things that most people don't realize. A lot of people, because I'm a big proponent of balance, of creating balance between all three phases of being, the body, the mind, and the spirit, putting those things together. Because you can be unbalanced. I have people come to me all the time. They have fantastic diets and fantastic exercise. Their body's in tip-top shape, but the mind's still suffering because they're not balancing something. It's usually a balance issue. And I can totally relate. So when you were talking about, what do they call it, Pamina?
Panema, P-A-N-E-M-A.
Panema, yeah. So in the mountains of Peru, they call it hucha.
Hucha.
Hucha means condensed light, is what it means, or heavy energy. So they don't like polarize or call it darkness or anything like that in the mountains. But it's the same general idea when we do our energy work. That's what we're doing. We're removing hucha or feeding it to the earth. And as you were telling me that, I could kind of see the vision of the purge. That's what's happening, the heaviness being fed to the earth.
Yeah.
The heaviness through the body being fed into the earth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Kambo's restoring everything back to balance. It's cleansing, it's purifying, it's harmonizing. A lot of Kambo's responsibility is to make the person feel whole, centered, and balanced. Everyone's different, though. It does work differently every time you do it, and that's the way with a lot of medicines. So many factors play in with diet, with what's going on in their life, medications, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, it's always a unique case, right? I guess the big question that everyone will have is, Kevin, could you describe what a typical Kambo ceremony feels like, or what happens? What in your, because that could be varying too, of course, I'm sure of that. But there's probably some very common things that happen to everyone.
It's funny, too. I said Kambo and Rape for the longest time. That's just the Western way of pronouncing
Kambo,
it. And when I
Rape.
when I got to the jungle, they're like, he's Kambo.
Yeah.
Like, Kambo. And Hape. Okay, I got it now. Only took me a few years. So I'll walk you guys through my typical sessions. So most of my clients are with me for about 2 hours, and when they come, after the screening process is complete, I just make sure all of my clients feel as safe and as comfortable as possible. That's so important, that they feel safe. And Kambo is a safe medicine. The way your cells absorb the medicine, it's impossible to overdose on Kambo. But I'll usually open up space with some breath work, some mantras, mind quiet, or I breathe in deep with love, I exhale with gratitude. Just, you come from the outside world, and there's a lot of thoughts going into Kambo, too. The mind tends to like to play out horror movies, and I always say just change the channel, change it into a love story, a success story. So after the breath work, I typically like to work with Sananga, which does some more energy work. It's an eye drop from the Tabernet Montana shrub, and hunters would actually utilize this medicine in the morning after they would take Kambo at night. the Kambo would help them with stamina throughout the day and just sharpening their senses. The Sananga would help hunters see through thick, dense forests. So it actually would enhance depth perception and vision and promote mental clarity too. The Hunikun tribe would call it windshield wipers of the soul. Or I would call it windshield wipers for the eyes. And, just think about how much we use our eyes every day, and just to get that nice deep cleaning in the eyes, it's can be a nice, peaceful, liberating experience. So after the Sananga, I like to work with hape, which is a shamanic snuff made with tobacco, ashes, wood, other plant medicines from the jungle. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of different kinds of hapes. Depending on the shaman from the tribe or the tribe that uses it. There's so many different plants out there. But essentially what it does is it clears the energetic field. It helps balance out energy points and chakras. And it removes blockages, so sometimes it can promote a purge. A lot of ayahuasqueros or shamans or curanderos would utilize hape during an ayahuasca experience if the person was journeying too far outwards, or if they were having a hard time purging, they would blow some hape snuff up their nose, the shamanic snuff, through a tepi, a long pipe, to help center them and ground them. And I feel like these two medicines before Kambo just really helps my clients open up and get in that space of being able to receive the Kambo, just being nice and open to receive. And once I apply the medicine, I've been using less water lately, but about 2 liters of water before Kambo. You have to fast for about 8 hours prior to Kambo. You're going to want something in your stomach to purge after all your involuntary muscles are being worked on with the peptides. So typical effects, the first thing that you would notice when receiving Kambo is heat. That a lot of those peptides will start promoting rushing, pounding sensation and heat. And this is just the medicine waking up your body's natural intelligence to heal itself at a cellular level. And that when the purging process comes, this is liberation. This is removal of toxic stored energies and emotions. Kambo's not only working on a physical level, it's working on an emotional level and a spiritual level as well. And even a mental level with, I like to say the yogic term is a samskara, so negative imprints of the mind. I notice Kambo kind of cleans those up as well. But once I take the medicine off, after they're done with their purging process, I'll use tobacco for mapacho tobacco with no additives, for purifying, for protection, and sage. I'll use sage for clearing personal energy before the process, and saging can actually help bring on a purge too if the client feels stuck. But after I take the medicine off, I let them rest and let the body kind of restore itself to homeostasis. And usually, they're ready to go. They're ready to drive home. That's another common question. Am I going to be able to drive home? And
Yeah.
Yeah. And what I love working with Kambo because it's legal and it's not a psychedelic, so that just removes some stigma. And I just feel like just the body awareness that it promotes too, bringing people back into their bodies and the blockages. It's such an amazing tool to remove blockages. And it's been very effective for people with Lyme and autoimmune related conditions, with some of the peptides that are in it, like dermaceptin B2 has actually been shown to reduce the size of cancer cells. Dermaceptin, it is a powerful antimicrobial, antifungal. Kambo's said to be one of the most powerful anti-inflammatories on the planet. And actually what I found funny was I watched this Vice recently with Steve, I forget his last name, but he was one of the teachers at IAKP when I did my training there, and they did a Vice on him, and a lot of his clients were working in Silicon Valley, and they were utilizing Kambo to help boost their cognitive performance. I think it was that way like in the 80s too, or 70s with LSD microdosing.
Mhm.
Right? But since training with IAKP too, I've found a different way to serve. I found a low and slow method, a gradual approach. So I don't throw on 5 points for my clients. For first timers, I always give a test point to see how they react, and I find the purge point and the minimum effective dose. So more suffering doesn't always mean more healing with combos. Some people get an egoic approach and more, and that can cause herxing. It can be a little bit taxing. So for example, in IAKP, when I did they did a 3x3 and initiation, I had to do 9 points, 11 points, 13 points, back to back to back, 20-minute rest in between, a total of 3 hours. And so my last dose I did was 13 points, and I went home and I did Kambo about a month later on myself. I self-applied, and I only gave myself 3 points, and I felt like I got more out of those 3 than I did 9, 11, 13.
Wow. Yeah.
And being I am a conservative with the medicine, considering that I went down to the jungle. I saw what they had to go through to get the medicine. We would go out, we would do Kambo in the morning and make these sounds, walk, 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 like that. Kind of sounds like a frog, and even your throat gets a little swollen after Kambo. And we would spot a frog like 40 feet up in a tree, and they're nocturnal creatures, and we're doing this at night since Kambo's awake at night and it sleeps during the day. We don't want to disturb it while it's sleeping. And we saw the frog maybe 40 feet up in a tree, and I'm like, okay, there's no way we're going to get that. And they send a 12-year-old to climb a tree with no branches, and they bring it down with a stick. And I'm like, holy crap, they have to risk their lives to get this. And, so those 9, 11, 13, that could have helped 6, 8 people.
Mm-hmm.
But also the jungle guide at the time, he said I would be hunting Kambo, and I would have to call off the hunt, the expedition, because there would be a viper in a tree ready to strike me. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a different world down there, and I remember him saying too, if you really want to learn in the jungle too, just watch the animals. The animals will teach you a lot. And he gave an example where there was a monkey that got bit by a snake, and after the monkey got bit by the snake, it ran over to this bush and started chewing on this bush. So they figured that was the antidote for that snake.
Ah, that's amazing. That's super amazing. Yeah, so,
that's how they discovered the ayahuasca roots, was by watching cats, because cats love to alter their states of consciousness. So
I can agree to that.
Watch the jungle cats chewing on the roots and acting funny. So that's how ayahuasca root was discovered.
Cool. Yeah, cats are really powerful astral travelers. As my awareness came on and my ability to go outside my body, I started to travel with my one cat. And he'll often actually change form. And then it reminds me of like He-Man. If you ever seen the cartoon He-Man, and he has a cat. First his name's Adam, and he's like, I'm Adam, the Prince of Eternia. And then he turns into He-Man, and then his cat turns into Battle Cat. So like my cat, I can ride my cat and he drives me around places. He's taking me to the pyramids, all kinds of things.
Yeah, cats are incredible. They they can self-heal with their purr, and they actually sense issues and injuries in us, and they purr at a frequency that can heal bones quicker. And like when my wife has cramps or something, the cat will come and lay on her belly and just purr and helps her cramps go away. They're so intuitive.
I've learned so much about cats through you guys,
Yeah.
and I never knew any of this. And no wonder they're regarded sacred in ancient Egypt.
That's what I was
too.
just going to talk about.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, totally regarded as sacred in ancient Egypt because of that ability for them to. They can actually help us heal. There's also something else that's pretty silly that most people don't know about is toxoplasma. That's what some scientists attribute the reasoning behind why the ancient Egyptians loved cats so much, because in their poop they have something called toxoplasma, and what this can do is actually create feelings of love and connection with the animal. So, well, it works on me then, I guess, because I didn't really like cats at all until I started dating Mary, and it was kind of I was like, oh, you like cats? I like, oh, I don't
Yeah,
know
same
if I
with
like
me.
it.
I was always a dog person, and my wife Julie had a cat.
I guess I
and
just
fell in
need to
love with
spend
her.
more time around the toxoplasma, because now I love kitties. They're the greatest.
I think I'm starting to join the other side now too.
That
I
happens.
saw Mary this morning, my brother Mick's cat that he got 12 years ago before he passed, and I started petting her, and I just have a different appreciation and outlook on cats now, for sure.
No doubt about it. Yeah, but I totally understand the minimum effective dose. I mean, even in the forms of energy medicine I use, that's a real thing, because in our tradition they call it sledgehammer healing. Because when the ego mind gets involved and you want to solve everyone's problems at once, all the things going on energetically in the body, that's the ego that wants to do that. Because really all it takes is to uncork something, and then they
Right.
can continue to heal themselves.
And you can do damage that way, and you can
Yep.
always add more, and you can always come back for more.
Speaking of that, how many, like, what's common? Is there a common set of how many sessions or therapies need to happen?
So in the jungle, they believe to do Kambo 3 times within a lunar cycle, 28 days or 30 days here we're doing. They feel that you receive full immunity, full benefits from doing it 3 times in 30 days. Because in my mind, a lot of these medicines work like peeling an onion, layers of an onion, like ayahuasca ceremonies. The first night's usually about deconstructing, breaking down all your thought patterns, your beliefs, and the second and third are about rebuilding. And I like to do it myself just to kind of stay in tune with the frequency of the medicine. I like to do it once a month or every 4 to 6 weeks. I have a lot of repeat clients. I have some people that, do it once and they feel like they're fine for several months, several weeks. And I just say, whenever the frog calls you, pick up the phone. It's always going to be there. I'm always going to be serving it. There's a special connection I have with the frog. I've always felt drawn to frogs when I was little. I always felt like I could never catch them. I could catch toads, and the frogs are always so athletic and agile, long and lengthy, and I've just I kind of feel like there is a sacred connection, a sacred covenant between frogs and humans, especially the way it was discovered. So yeah, it's definitely a tool that I feel like I'll always be working with.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah, I've not have yet sampled or tried Kambo yet, but it calls to me. I'm doing that. David, you have, right?
Yes, Kevin actually took part. He was a practitioner in the very first study ever done, official study ever done with Kambo. And as he was saying before, the concentration for the study was people with late-stage autoimmune diseases and Lyme disease. Well, Lyme disease, there is no cure. So it seems to have some promising
There's lots of
benefits
things
for-
that the sick care system says is medically incurable.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely. There's so much resistance to a lot of that. I mean, I kind of felt almost cheated, when I discovered all of this at age 22, 23. I felt like these methods were so much more effective. I feel like I gained, 10 to 20 years of psychotherapy in one weekend. And I did. I felt cheated, and that kind of that built a huge fire inside me when I started seeing all my friends passing away to opioid addiction, losing my brother. Sorry, back to the study. We did start the world's first scientific study on Kambo, measuring psychometric outcomes of Kambo naive participants. Caitlin Thompson, she's the neurobiologist, scientist, researcher, and Kambo practitioner. She went through IAKP in 2015, I believe. She takes a lot of practitioners now down to the jungle to connect with the Matsis tribe and the frog. She started this study on Kambo, which has IRB approval under the FDA, which is Institutional Review Boards. And we've had, and I'm honored, I'm very lucky to be a practitioner in this study. There's 9 or 10 other practitioners throughout the U.S., so it's an observational study. I go about serving the medicine with my private practice, and I record information such as physical effects observed, dosage, purge point location, and my clients, the subjects, they all fill out data collecting spreadsheets, and I think right now we're at about 30 have been enrolled, 15 have completed all 3 sessions, and 3 have completed everything. So there's a survey 12 to 14 weeks after their last 3rd Kambo session, because a lot of those benefits can come later. The long-term benefits can come several weeks to months after Kambo, after you do the 3x3. And it's an observational study, so that means that I don't have to go anywhere for it. And it started back in September, I believe. That's when we first started doing it. And it may take about a year or so, but I'm super excited to hear about the results. She wanted 20 or 30, I think 30 or 40% initially. She wanted it to be focused on Lyme and autoimmune-related conditions, but there was a bit of an issue at first recruiting clients, but there was a huge influx of clients once New Year's hit. Might be that New Year's resolution, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
a lot of it has to do with the rising energies, too, of the Earth. We're on the verge right now of a very large expansion that's about to happen. We're right on time to help those that are showing up.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Yeah, my wife and I were very honored to be a part of that study, and my intention was to get more in touch with the universal my universal consciousness, or our universal consciousness, and further my own shamanic practices, and it really has helped with that. Shortly after we vibrated together.
Yeah, I love that. I love how it's all come together.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
That's great. Speaking of shamanic practices and it's like self-care. So, Kevin, tell us a little bit about your life and what Kevin does to keep himself healthy and his medicine being intact and ready to do his work.
So, working with a lot of energies, I really have to take care of myself and clean myself. And I since I got back from the jungle in last May, I actually came back the day I was conceived, my mom told me. And since then, this past year has just been, just the synchronicities and the connections have been absolutely mind-expanding. I don't want to say blowing, mind-expanding.
I'm with that.
So my typical routine, I usually wake up, I have some cacao, which opens up the heart chakra, sends more blood flow and oxygen to the brain. I switched from caffeine to cacao, and I'll do some breath work, some meditation. Sometimes I'll do chanting, and mantras too. Mantra means tool of the mind. Chanting can help open up energy centers in the body too, and they say that chanting cleanses the mirror of the mind so we can fully see ourselves, so we can truly see our true identity in ourselves. I'll do that for maybe 40 to 60 minutes and utilize Kambo when I feel like I need to, but my diet's somewhat on point. I just try and eat, mindfully, consciously. and I'll do a lot of cold plunges, and finding Anthony has been, and Anthony and Mary. I mean, Mary was so Mary was my brother Mick's cat's name. He named it Mary. And
then my wife is a cat lady named Mary.
That's amazing. and the way that Alicia and I met her at Unity Church in Westlake about a year and a half ago. And I don't know if Mary showed you this picture, but when I was in Columbus serving this past weekend, I walk in and there's this chakra tapestry. It was the exact one that Alicia had in her picture, where she had her white coat on and her stethoscope, and that tapestry is right behind her. Then I go up into my room that he lets me sleep in his daughter's room, and there's this like light up pineapple right by my bed.
How cool is that?
I have a list of like 50 or 60 of these synchronicities.
And
spirits.
my divine feminine guide, my grandmother, was Mary.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I mean, wow, Mother Mary, it's beautiful.
Whoop.
Yeah, it's really special here. This entire place, everything you started here, the mind that you have, the vision that you have. I think that's why I was so drawn.
It's not my vision. I was open to receive those downloads.
Thank you for being the vessel of light that brings that information into the space.
Mm-hmm.
We're grateful to you. Thank you, David.
Thank you for your heart, brother.
Yes, this Sacred Waters, especially this North Olmsted location, has been life-changing for so many people. It's a place for healing, and people immediately feel that when they walk in.
Mm-hmm.
It's an incredible place. We've watched so many people blossom into who they really are, and are finding themselves and remembering. And the short time since we've been open, we opened Black Friday as Sacred Waters, and the immense growth that we've seen in so many people is just so humbling. I'm so grateful for this place and for you guys and for our regulars.
Yeah,
we're really building such an incredible soul family.
I can't tell you how many regulars and how many people I've heard say, we stopped drinking, we haven't touched a drink since we started coming here, relationships have been, healed, and it just feels like one big soul family, everyone wanting to better themselves and utilizing their pain as a vehicle for transformation and growth. I feel like everyone has that in common.
Yeah, I mean, we have a couple of regulars, Derek and Julia.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
Julia's just turned 21 this past year and has completely lost all interest in alcohol. She didn't even have to go through that party phase. This place helped her skip it.
This is kind of just what I was talking about before we came on the show, when I was talking about that we're creating an energetic womb for people to grow. They won't have to go through the hardships, particularly that maybe we did, that we had to come through.
Yes, absolutely, and that's so wonderful.
And everybody, if you want to come visit Kevin, he serves here at Sacred Waters. Come here and visit him. He's fantastic.
And I live here. So.
Yeah, David lives here.
Sleeps in the back.
Yep.
If he's not doing something, he's taking a little nap in the back, but otherwise he's here.
I meditate a couple times a day.
Yeah, meditation.
I got my little corner.
Yeah. Now, I'm sorry, I didn't get to the end of your self-care. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about that, add to that?
Yeah, sorry, I keep kind of...
We got off, we were talking about cold water immersion was the last place you got to.
I found you.
And I just saw you taking one online the other day, like yesterday maybe.
Yeah, well, I've been doing a lot of cold plunges, and this is a phenomenal tool that's been around since Earth's been here.
Yeah, I mean, up in Norway, they've been doing it since they can, written history of the Vikings, and in other places. It's an ancient human technology.
Well, I got into this in 2017. I started doing the Wim Hof breath work. I was doing ice baths. I was running a lot, and I felt like I ended up holding my breath for 2.5 minutes underwater. I didn't know that was possible. But this past winter, I started getting back into it because I thought, I lived in Florida the last 9 years, which was an amazing transformational point in my life. I'm very grateful for all the connections I made down there. But spending so much time, I was kind of, I forgot what it was like to go through a full winter and the grayness here, having 180 gray days, or only sunny days, actually. I think it's 180 sunny days we have here. But I started making a commitment to myself that I'm going to go to the cold and not experience any of this depression. I haven't experienced one bit of depression. It's just been such a good tool to help me gain control of my thoughts and my emotions. And, when you're entering into that sympathetic state, just breathing through that, finding the brake pedal rather. So yeah, lots of meditation, utilizing the cold, mindfulness practices. I kind of bounce back and forth between yoga, working out, running. Sometimes I was doing MMA, but I just feel like I'm in a time now where I just feel like continuously bettering myself and getting better. And this was another one, just stepping outside of my comfort zone. I'm not a huge fan of public speaking.
You better get used to it.
Yeah, I realize I'm definitely going to have
Moshi's on its way.
Yeah, definitely.
Kevin, where can people find you? Anyone that wants to find you, wants to work with you, wants to learn more about you, where can they find you?
So my Facebook page is Kambo Essence, and you can read my reviews there. I post a lot on Instagram with my work, kambo.essence.us, and my website's currently under construction. I'll have that fixed in a month or two, but it's kamboessence.org. Best way to reach me, though, is through my cell phone, 440-822-0716, or just through my kamboessence.us page or Facebook page.
Fantastic.
Yes.
I love it. Kevin, this has been a fantastic journey to be here with you. I was familiar mostly with your story, but you filled in some of the spaces for me that I needed to feel, what I needed to see. Thank you for sharing your medicine with us here today, Kevin. We love you so much.
Yes.
I love you guys.
And we're thrilled to be here on this journey with you.
Dude, I couldn't be more excited. You guys are my soul brothers, one family, one love, one tribe. Base, hausch, hausch.
Thanks, guys. Love you.
Love you. Thank you.
This has been the Quantum Shamans presented by Moshi with David and Anthony. We look forward to seeing you next week for more insight into who you are and your place in the universe.